All right. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you are welcome on this very important event of the Stakeholder Convening for the Youth Climate Council implementation in Uganda. Allow me make a simple request before we can officially start. If we can come a little bit closer. Apologies for the inconvenience. We're just about to start right now. I'm going to request everyone, especially the colleagues that are behind, the guests that are behind, if you can come a little bit closer, we try to fix this in front. Yes. I would like to apologize again. If we can do that, and we start officially with the introductions. Allow me request everyone who is behind kindly. Yes, thank you. If we can come and get nearer, let's fix these seats so that we have, we get nearer to the videos, near to the stage, near to the platform. Yes. My colleagues behind, please. Apologies again for the inconvenience. Especially that group there. There is a nice seat here, the nice table here. Yes. Once again, we'd like to apologize for the few minutes that we're starting a little bit late. But like the saying goes, better late than never. Here we are. We'd like to welcome everyone from where you've come from, the efforts you've put in to be here. All right. As people are trying to change to come nearer, as you're waiting for them, the earlier the better. Would kindly request if we can come and have these seats in front. Kindly. I want to start, but yes. The earlier we do that, the much better for all of us. I know we feel comfortable where we are. Yeah. If I may request the table that side. Let's fix here. There's a nice table here. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Amompele Bismarck Moses, and I'm a nature and travel journalist, freelance with affiliation to Pearl of Africa TV, Power TV. I am here to moderate this very important event, this stakeholder engagement. But importantly, I'm super excited that we have a lot of important and youthful human beings in this vicinity. And we're going to have this program to make sure that it ends at exactly 2. Now, you will allow me to let you know that as we are pushing on this agenda, we are going to really have to take on some time to make sure that we are quick in whatever it is that we are doing. Yes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the stakeholder convening for the Youth Climate Council implementation in Uganda is on. The event is brought to you by the Green Africa Youth Organization, GAYO, in partnership with Youth Climate Council's Global Alliance, and of course, working with partners. National Youth Council, we all know the National Youth Council, Fridays for Future Uganda. Yes, we have them in presence. Action Coalition on Climate Change, Uganda Water and Sanitation Network, Yarin Organization, Vision for Children and Youth Forum, Youth Go Green, nice to have you around as well. Youth Youth Plus Policy Network, Uganda. Youth for Green Communities. COTFORM, which is Community Transformation Foundation Network. PEDON Uganda Limited. Listen and Evolve. And Power TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Gaio, alongside its partners, has initiated a research study to assess the current engagement of young people in climate policies and the need for climate council. Yes, the strong need for climate council for the very first time in Uganda. I'm excited, and I believe that you are excited as well about this very important and momentous epoch. If you are yet to participate, I hope my colleagues on the screen will be displaying a link for those who can't be here to follow up. We shall have that link to look at everything that will be transpiring, and we shall also have a live coverage of the same. We shall have a link live on YouTube, Power TV. We shall also have a link for Zoom in this regard. We would like everyone to share this message for those who are not supposed to be here, for those who are supposed to be here and can't be here, because we do not want to leave any youth behind. Today, we have in our midst policymakers, academicians, and educational representatives. We have climate-based organizations, youth leaders, community leaders, and the media. Together, we aim to establish a mutual ground for fostering greater access and inclusivity to decision-making for the Ugandan youth while amplifying climate action. Additionally, the concept of the Youth Climate Councils and its potential to support in bridging identified gaps at the national, regional, and local levels. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to officially say that this event has begun officially. And for this, I would like to have great time for us to have introductions to know each other. And I would really pray and request that we do this within a small time frame. We have already delayed somehow. We know some people are already coming, on the way coming. The weather has kind of sabotaged a few things. But guess what? Here we are, and we've begun. Kindly just tell us your name, your position in your organization, and we take it to the next person. Let's have fun as we're doing this. The criteria, we can begin with the first people, my brother.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kamakara Alfred from Kamwenge, Western Uganda. I'm the program director in the Greater Rural Development Foundation. We are in the climate space, and we are also passionate environmentalists. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Mwesige Matthias is my name. Director for Rafik Justice and Environmental Organization based in Kasese District.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chemtai Jabeth Jamil. I am the chairperson, that is a Sabay Students Association. That is a national association for Sabay students.
Morning, everyone. My name is Itot Derek, Youth Mobilizer at Fridays for Future Uganda. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Crispas Mwemaho, and I am the ED Kampala Climate Cafe. I also dabble as co-founder of our Youth Climate Action Network. I'm so glad that I've had someone from Kasese. We work with IDPs, and I hope that I connect with more of you guys from that side. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Asmin Kizana Kaima, and I'm a youth ambassador at Green Futures Initiative in Uganda. So we do climate change activities in school, such as climate awareness and creation of clubs in schools. So I'm glad to be here.
Ivan Muhammad is my name. I'm a founder at Mindset Change Front Initiative and the director. Thank you.
Morning, colleagues. Reni Mwanje is my name. Secretary for Environment, Masin District.
Good morning, members. My name is Robin Wabulembo. I'm the Programs Officer of Environmental Initiative Uganda.
Morning, everyone. My name is Mugisa Oren David, Research Analyst at Listen and Evolve.
Hello, friends. I am Daniel Gene. I'm part of the media team from Smart 24 TV. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ernest Wesley, and I'm part of the Ghana delegation for YCC. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Teopista Nakafu, Directorate of Health and Environment, Kampala Capital City Authority.
Good morning, everyone. Sechan's Stephen Irish, a chairperson Public Health and Environment, Makinde Division under KCCA.
Good morning, everyone. I am Navasa Innocent, and I work with Power TV, one of the media partners with Gaio and this event in particular. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Yes, good morning. I'm Kule Kasim. I'm a student at Makerere University, secretary, communication secretary for Gaio at Makerere University.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kasita Gerard, founder and CEO of Vibrant Generation Uganda Youth Empowerment Center in Zimbabwe, and a board member Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lynette Nachide. I'm the founder and CEO of Biofertilizer Center for Youth Empowerment. It's located in Masaka. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pedison Mumbere. I'm a business journalist working with Smart 24 TV.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Agnes Namwonge, and I'm the Central Region Coordinator for Nexus Youth Initiative. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm called Membe Aida, part of INBA organization, Uganda.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure being part of this event with you. My name is Daniel Shavo Chiseka. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Nutravis Uganda Limited, a company that is creating access for market to other farmers in Uganda. And I'm also the country representative for YPAD. YPAD is Young Professionals for Agricultural Development, and we are aimed at empowering youth in agribusiness. Thank you.
Kigozi Musa from Zimbabwe, working with the Cotphone Greater Masaka.
Thank you so much. You're welcome, all of you. My name is Isaac Nyamhachi. I'm the programs manager, Gaio Uganda. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Jungo, Climate Action. I'm the program officer, Climate Change and Natural Resources.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bukenya Louis Dennis. I work with Cotphone in Rengo programs. Thank you.
Kayinga Modesto, environmental human rights defender, from Cotphone, working in Greater Masaka sub-region and a partner to this initiative. Thank you.
Diana Biali from Hoiba. I work with climate change with an organization called Giving Hope Foundation. I'm the executive director. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Margaret Imprim. I'm with Green Africa Youth Organization. I'm the Assistant Global Coordinator for the Youth Climate Council's Global Alliance. Welcome everyone.
Hello everyone, I am Joshua Aita Apamaku. I'm a wildlife biologist and freelance biodiversity climate nexus consultancy. Thank you.
Good morning all. Call me William Okema. I work for Tour Uganda, an organization based in Noi District, Northern Region. Thanks.
Hello everyone, call me Geoffrey Chan. I work for Vision for Children and Youth Forum, based in Amuro District as the Executive Director. Thank you.
Good morning, young people, but growing still. I'm Magume Stephen, Executive Director, Action Coalition on Climate Change. I bring over a wealth of experience of 14 years since Action Coalition on Climate Change was formed, and initially I'm a professional in the field of natural resources ecology.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arima Brighton. I'm a lawyer focusing on environmental and policy. I work with Youth for Green Communities as the team leader. I'm happy to be here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mukunya Stanley. I'm a journalist from UBC.
Yes, good morning. My name is Dennis Omoy. I work with Vision for Children and Youth Forum based in Amuro District.
Morning, everyone. My name is Abiro Masi. I work with the African Institute for Investigative Journalism, as well as in terms of policy, but as well I'm the GAIO consultant on assessing youth in climate change involvement.
Good morning. I am Okulu Jimmy, representative from the National Youth Council.
Yes, good morning. My name is Tony Nsim. I'm representing Wind Conservation for Generation Foundation. So.
Hi everyone. My name is Patricia Salina Mirembe. I'm a climate justice activist from Fridays for Future Uganda. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Rukundo. I work with the Parliament of Uganda. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Henry Stanley Mbowa. I lecture at Kampala University, and I'm a climate expert at Aid Environment, East African Office, Uganda. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pascal Tunamasco, Team Leader, Bioecosystem Conservation and Development Agency, based in Riz District, Western Uganda. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Agram Sherry. I'm a meteorologist by profession.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet Akizibwe. I'm an environmental scientist by profession from Tree Adoption, Uganda. Nice to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fiona Bonavana, and I'm a research and advocacy officer at Smart Youth Network Initiative. I'm also an environmental scientist by profession. I'm happy to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James Kashoworozi, and I'm the head of programs at Center for Environmental Research and agriculture innovations. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uganda David. I'm serving at the Network of Climate Journalists in the Greater Horn of Africa. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm called Tomusime Juliet. I work with TISE, that's Toro Initiative for Social and Economic Development. I'm the director. Thank you.
Morning once again. My name is Benjamin Kato. I work with Advocacy Coalition for Sustainable Agriculture, and we're a national network of CSOs that work with smallholder farmers in promotion of sustainable agriculture, agriculture market development, research and advocacy, and environmental conservation. Our mandate is advocating for the agrarian policy environment for smallholder farmers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bako Patience, a forestry graduate, and looking up to climate and forest policy, and also part-timing with Africa Tourism and Environment Initiative as a communications officer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Asibazio Barbara, a student of Makerere doing forestry. I'm here representing the 89th Guild House. I'm the Guild Representative Councillor for School of Forestry and serving on the committee of Ministry of Environment, Production, Employment.
Lawrence Akandwanao is my name, a final student of Chambogo University, pursuing a bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering, and here representing the sort of petroleum engineers. I'm the speaker that side of the chapter. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm Cesar.
Hello everyone. My name is Rihanna Fiona.
Very much.
Thank you on these kind of I but I personally have that actually a big section of this country has been represented the media, the academicians, professors, and this makes this very stakeholder engagement very important. The reason of this gathering, ladies and gentlemen, is majorly an initiative by GAYO, Green Africa Youth Organization. And there is a great team that is behind this organization that is led by a great personality who happens to be the country manager of Green Africa in Uganda. Lady, very smart lady with more than 5 years of experience in the area of climate change, circular economy, and disaster risk reduction. Ladies and gentlemen, prefers to be called a storyteller, amplifying the voices of communities in environmental and sustainability initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to welcome the one and only, with a round of applause as she comes, Miss Betty Osei Bonsu. Yes.
climate-based organizations who are interested in joining this movement. Today, our objectives are not limited to understanding the efforts of stakeholders in involving young people towards climate action. And secondly, an ulterior motive, which is exploring ways of redefining meaningful stakeholder engagement and participation within policymaking across local, national platforms using the Youth Climate Council Uganda. We understand that without a unified youth-led climate network, channeling young people's demands in an orderly manner becomes next to impossible. Thus, the reason why GAIO, Green Africa Youth Organization, and the Global Youth Alliance Climate Council, in partnership with the National Youth Council, Fridays for Future, Action Coalition on Climate Change, UVashNet, Yarin, Vision for Children and Youth Forum, Youth Go Green, Youth Plus Policy Network, Youth for Green Communities, COTSFON, PEDAN Uganda Limited, and Listen and Involve have brought together stakeholders to establish mutual ground for fostering greater access and inclusivity to decision-making for Ugandan youth, whilst amplifying climate action. Thanks to every one of you that have made this event possible, and to our media house, POA TV, for joining in the amplification of youth-led efforts in climate action, we say thank you. Nyenyanziza Sabo Nyabo. Thank you.
Well, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the country manager of GAIO, Madame Betty Osei Bonsu, who gave us a presentation from a digital perspective. Well, now this is the time. We know the purpose of this stakeholder engagement and uniting stakeholders from all walks of Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few minutes, we'd like to have a presentation and interest of time, a policy report assessing the engagement of youth in climate policy and the need for the Youth Climate Council, YCC. A personality, very intelligent, well created in God's wisdom, in the names of Mercy Abiro, is a research consultant and is consulting for the Green Africa Youth Organization to produce the Youth Policy Report. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as we have the one and only Mercy Abilo. Oh yes, welcome Mercy. Good. There's another microphone, but also we are sensitized. We took our medications very well. We share. COVID. Take it on. Thank you.
I think. Hello. Okay, I think it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure seeing each and every one of you. My name is Abiro Masi. I am the current policy consultant with GAIO. I think I have a presentation somewhere and to be projected. All right. So basically, my role with GAIO is to assess youth involvement in climate policy. And this is the conversation that we have in the room today. And just to give a brief background on the youth involvement in climate policy formulation, we've realized that over time, climate change has become a pressing issue globally. And in that regard, youth as stakeholders are really pertinent to this because they are the future of climate. climate change. They are the ones who are affected by climate change. So it is with such a background that the research paper was actually invented. So basically, climate change is an issue that's pressing to governments, communities, and NGOs. That includes youth. Both state and non-state actors are really affected by climate change. We have different policies in different countries. That is to say, policies affecting climate policy formulation. And one of the challenges or one of the problems that we noted is as youth stakeholders, we are not involved in the room when making the policies. So we realized that one, there are limited studies that address mobilization of youth in global climate participation. What does that mean? Worldwide, we're 1.2 billion in terms of youth population, and we account for 16% of the global population. What does that mean? Climate change affects all of us as youth and young people. Young people's experiences in climate change have predominantly been negative over time. What do we mean by that? There's a popular statement in Uganda that the youth are the future, right? But if we are the future and we don't have a planet to come back to, what does that mean for us? So basically, as young people, when climate really changes, it affects us in the most negative ways. So it's with that that mobilization of youths became really, really important in terms of advocating for climate change. The problem statement. African youth, so in Africa, the youth are the biggest demographics in terms of population. And due to that, the effects of climate change and the threats of climate change are really adverse to the population. We realize that conflicts have been growing over time within youth groups because we are literally fighting for scarce resources. What does that mean? In the agriculture sector, we have youth being employed in those sectors. But because we are so many, and due to the changes within the climate ecosystem, we realize that we are literally in conflict trying to survive. The youth in Africa have actively fought against climate change through activism, including legal action. point of view, especially with the major stakeholders in terms of policy formulation. That is to say, the media, who play a very critical role in discussing some of these pertinent issues, as well as looking at the current policy makers in terms of youth engagement within the climate change space. The discussions of the findings. So the findings will basically will inform a policy framework paper on youth inclusion and climate policy. The recommendations that we will get from you as people who are already in the ecosystem will gladly help to basically build the capacity of the policy paper. And as the policy paper is being drafted, it is a working paper because, as we all know, the ecosystem keeps changing, and as young people who are in the space, there's really need for engagement. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. Just to give a brief background, it's still an open process. It's still a process that is very much ongoing, and your input is really, really valid in terms of the whole framework and the whole policy document. Yes.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mercy Abilo for that informative and factual kind of a presentation, giving us facts, numbers, as far as the climate change scourge is concerned. Yes. Right about now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll request you to excuse me. We are far behind time as per how we had scheduled this. Let's delve into a roundtable discussion for the panel. And this is going to be about the possible benefits of the Youth Climate Council Uganda and possibilities of inclusivity. Allow me call upon the chairperson for the National Youth Council, Mr. Jacob Ayeru, to come in front as we take on this engagement. Yes, thank you. Mr. Jacob. Yes, as Mr. Jacob Ayeru is coming, we'll also call upon Mr. Mudu Kayinga, who is the leader of COTFON, Community Transformation Foundation Network, which is an indigenous non-profit networking of 80 plus grassroots memberships network of community actors, organizations, and of course state and non-state actors working together to address the pressing needs of vulnerable and marginalized people for healthy and self-reliant communities in Greater Masaka. Ladies and gentlemen, Mudu Kayinga could come around. And of course, we'll also invite Mr. Nicholas Omoko. Yes, Nicholas Omoko, who is the national coordinator for the Nexus Youth Initiative. In interest of time, I'll also invite Miss Diana Biali. Miss Diana Biali, who is a sociologist and social entrepreneur and the executive director of the Giving Hope Foundation. All right. Isaac Ndiamohachi, the programs manager of Green Organization, is going to help in moderating this session as we have this discussion. Once again, Isaac, if I can talk about Isaac, an environmental conservationist, past experience in designing and implementing grassroots projects. Yes, for years, Isaac has nurtured his passion and career in environmental protection, through climate action-centered social entrepreneurship, volunteerism, and service. Let's take this on in interest of time with the notion that we are slightly behind schedule. Sure, let's take it on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome once again thank you so much, and you're much welcome once again for this gathering. Without wasting much time, I'm pleased to have a good panel of high-profile people who share the same passion as myself in as far as implementing work for environmental conservation at the grassroots is concerned. So I will start with Miss Diana, all right, because we always know ladies should come first. So I have to comply with that. With that, but just a quick question to you, Ms. Diana. How do you think stakeholders can benefit from the YCC that we are bringing to Uganda? How do you think stakeholders in the climate space, the practitioners and others, how do you think this could be beneficial to them?
Thank you, Isaac, for that question. The Youth Climate Council, once implemented, it can be a center where knowledge, skills, and trainings concerning climate change and other related environmental activities can be discussed, shared, implemented, and further disseminated to other regions of the country, right from the grassroots to the higher levels. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that submission. Mr. Kainga, I know you coordinate a wide range of stakeholders there in and not only for environmental protection, but also for other movements to see that our communities become better. What do you think YCC could be beneficial? Just quickly.
Thank you so much, Isaac. I believe YCC is not coming in a vacuum. The issues of climate change, climate justice has been an effort. My thinking is if for area. Be rearranged into the YCC efforts at the country level. So I feel that the presence or the actors, even those who are already here, it is already ground for YCC to be sustainable and to be self-sustaining in the country, other than creating any pyro structures. because there are already existing efforts, but what we need is to galvanize, map out those efforts, and create synergies for the betterment and to ensure that YCC works as the collective to have the youth voices in climate change into national processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kainga. Do you have anything to add on what Mr. Kainga and Ms. Diana said, Mr. Nicholas?
Yes, thank you very much. Mine is on meaningful youth participation in decision-making processes. Like he has said, this is a structure that is going to be building onto the existing ones. But what I would say is lacking on the existing ones is the meaningful youth participation. So this is going to be a collection of youth, young minds, that are directly and largely affected by the negative effects of climate change, contributing towards policy, contributing towards these discussions together with stakeholders. So to me, I think this YCC is going to be very great and very important when it comes to meaningful youth participation in regards to policy change and policy formulation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for those submissions. And yeah, now this brings me to the next question. Now you have brought in all those avenues. This why the YCC can be very beneficial to the stakeholders. Have to be very, very strategic, and in strategy we have to take positions. So what is that position that YCC can be positioned to see that every other stakeholders are benefiting, most especially the young people? We shall definitely proceed with Mr. Nicholas, and then we go to Ms. Diana, and finally Kainga.
Thank you very much. How do we position this YCC so that it's beneficial to us all? Well, for starters, is this platform right here that it has created, bringing together climate activists, bringing together stakeholders, and I'm assuming that this is not the very last, this is the beginning. So this platform that it's providing to all those different categories of people is the starting point on how we are positioning ourselves to better the policy decision-making spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Diana, please, can you go next?
I think the YCC should be positioned where we have a central place, then different branches across the country, and these branches should directly connect to the local leadership level, local government, where we shall request for a desk, if I may say, so that all information concerning climate is got. Once it's got, it's passed on to the main YCC, which same information will be shared by different stakeholders across the nation, and we come up with a consolidated effort as different people involved in climate change, the climate activists and the climate organizations, so that at the end of it all, we can stand better positions for support from different people, and this will help us be able to tackle all the effects of climate change across the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that submission. Mr. Kainga, you go next, elaborating on the same.
Thank you so much. In addition to what Nicholas and Diana have elaborated, I find YCC's positioning into existing youth structures besides the government structures, because as Diana said, already we have youth structures up to village level. Their structures are there, but they just need to be strengthened. But also when you come like into cultural institutions, you'll find youth structures there. When you come into religious institutions, talk about like the church, the areas where YCC can be well positioned to better tap into the younger people and even to bring awareness on climate to younger people, because those are all structures for younger people. But to what extent is the message of climate well positioned into the lens of younger people? How do younger people understand climate issues? And then from there, the demand for younger people to be involved into climate-related issues will be created, and then you will have the meaningful youth participation from the point of knowledge and information that is channeled through the relevant structures that are targeting younger people. And the structures that are there and they will be there. So it's a matter of now we see that climate change or issues of environment should be cross-cutting in every segment of society, be it in education, be it in health. Now we see climate and issues of environment, talk about schools, how are we positioning this information to schools for children to grow, understanding issues of climate and environment. Then YCC would be well positioned. Go back to schools, we have youth clubs, environmental clubs. All these are good avenues. And at the end of the day, these are self-sustaining structures that YCC needs to build on to be able to get collective information or voices from different sectors. And then they are channeled, synthesized at national level, and then they enter into national processes, but as well as fitting into local processes, because they already local processes like local government engagements, where such voices must go, but not only looking at national level processes to make system change. What we need is systems change, but not just lamentations that has been there over and over. And that's why now you see the rise of activists, young activists, because they feel it is now beyond blah blah. It is now about acting on the issues, but not keep lamenting on the issues when we have the power in our hands and the brains. Thank you.
Many thanks to you all. You have really elaborated, but of course the key takeaways for me is that building on existing structures, also making sure that efforts are decentralized across different areas, and also like Mr. Kainga has mentioned, that the action must now go beyond blah blah. But again, this brings me to another question, that we are all here, we want inclusivity, and as per SDGs, we all know there is that need for leaving no one behind. So in that spirit of leaving no one behind, I want to pose to you another question. So what kind of marginalized groups in communities can be targeted to see that there is that inclusivity and making sure that no one is left behind? I will start with you again, Mr. Nicholas Omono.
Thank you.
As we wind up.
Please. Yes, thank you. The group that I want to bring to your attention is the indigenous communities, those that are in the villages, those that are not in town. Very many of these disasters that come due to climate change affect those indigenous communities so much as compared. I mean, we also get those, but just the highlight to the indigenous communities, those are in the grassroots, those are in the villages, those who do not have access to a lot of information. Those are the communities that, to me, I feel like should be included into our target groups. But also, as we're including this, there is a new term that I got in touch with called intersectionality. Intersectionality, looking at each person with their different diversities. So as we're looking at those indigenous communities, we don't just bracket them, yeah? Break them down to their different diversities. If you've got those persons with disabilities, you've got those that are educated or non-educated. I mean, there are very many different binaries when you're looking into the whole intersectionality aspect. But yes, to me, my major highlight would be the indigenous communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we go to Ms. Diana?
Like Nicholas has said, I think we should target more of the rural communities, because these are people who have less knowledge about the climate change. And if they have it, it's limited. They don't know how to use it. Also, these include the boys, girls, and young mothers, people living with disabilities, with different alignments. So once everyone on the grassroots level is involved, it will bring it up where we shall have the educated youth who will look at the information and use it in a good way, so that we can look at all those climate change effects and we overcome them.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kainga, you are the last one to speak.
Okay. Also, let's look at the younger people living with disabilities, because most times we find them isolated or discriminated. Let's also look at fishing communities, because all these issues go to water pollution or what, that community sometimes is a little bit silenced. But also we have to understand that the climate crisis affects more when you go into issues of gender and environment, women and the girls much more than so. There has to be, we have to see how to engage younger people, those are men and the boys, for gender equality and climate justice. We need to have the intersectionality between climate change or patriarchy and climate justice, so that we create space for the community, for the women and the girls who are more impacted, by having boys or those are younger people as allies to advancing the rights, the climate justice towards women and girls in our communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those excellent deliberations. We shall not have the audience asking questions because of the time, but from my takeaways or even the recommendations is that we are on the right track as per submissions, especially on inclusivity, or especially on the benefits and the positioning. I thank you so much, and we look forward to great deliberations as we usher ourselves to climate action, as well as young people becoming more active and getting an extra mile beyond blah blah blah. Thank you so much.
Around, gentlemen, I personally know something about the possible benefits of the Youth Climate Council and the possibilities of inclusivity. Ladies and gentlemen, interest of time, I would like us to explore some of the options of how the operations of the Youth Climate Council works, especially from the perspective of where it is already happening in Ghana, Brazil, and Costa Rica. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed to have an informed gentleman, well-informed, who is an education and capacity building officer of the Youth Climate Council from Ghana. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as we're having this great man very energetic, very youthful, in the names of Ernest Ofuri. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. I'm not very certain if I mentioned that the right way, but yes, that is it. Ernest, you're welcome on this presentation. Can't wait.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's afternoon now. Unfortunately, I learned all the salutations. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I woke up forgetting them all. Sorry. But I hope everyone is fine. I'm going to do a brief presentation on the structural formation of the YCC, or the structural operations of the YCC. Very quick. Please, if you could help me project the screen. All right, I'll continue. So the YCC was originally formed or birthed in Ghana. All right, the Green African Youth Organization, which was set up by two Ghanaians, amazing Ghanaians, Joshua Pontem and Desmond Lalugunwa, thought it wise to inculcate the need for a youth climate council in Ghana. Because, you know, the climate system in Ghana, or the climate movement in Ghana, was very polarized. Everybody was doing what they wanted. There was no cohesion. So there was a need for the creation of the Youth Climate Council in Ghana. And when the Youth Climate Council rolled out in Ghana, it started achieving great milestones, doing great. Then we saw the need for the replication of the Youth Climate Council in other nations. That was the reason for the Youth Climate Alliance, which now currently holds 3 countries in terms of operations. So we have YCC Ghana, YCC Costa Rica, YCC Brazil. Thankfully, we are going to have YCC Uganda after today. I thought you were going to clap to that. Okay, so I go straight into what Ghana does. So YCC Ghana, just like any other YCC, is an institutional mechanism for the youth climate movement in Ghana that provides avenue for every youth-led organization, youth-focused organization, and the various youth climate advocates within the country to make meaningful impact and also participate in climate decision making. How many of us can boldly say that the national youth climate in Uganda has them on their board when they are making policies and reviewing policies? There may be a very handful of us. So that was the reason for YCC. Now we have Ghanaians, young Ghanaians, that are present on the board. Whenever there's a policy, we have youth that makes inclusion, that say something and their voices are heard. They review policies that has to do with the youth and that benefits the youth so that we can hold the leaders accountable. That is what the YCC generally seeks to achieve. So the YCC in Ghana has 3 major objectives. The first one is building and strengthening the youth climate movement in Ghana to jointly advocate and support both government and the private sectors, you know, the NGOs, the CBOs, the CSOs, and all the other activists in helping the climate ambition to be spiked or heightened. And secondly, we also established a formal mechanism for the youth climate movement in Ghana to serve as a model for the replication across the globe, especially in the global south. So that is what we've achieved. We have YCC Uganda. Today we have Brazil and we have Costa Rica. The formal setting was set up in Ghana, and it helped us replicate what is happening in Ghana in other parts of the country. And finally, capacity building for youth climate activities in Ghana, and then also mutually learning on, you know, on ground, especially on the global south, and then the south-south and the north-south, dialogues. So that anything that goes on with regards to the global south, the south-south, and the north-south, there shall be a youth inclusion in Ghana, basically. So this is the structure of operations for the YCC. Can you please help me? This is very important. The structure. All right, so the YCC structure for Ghana is as such. We have the coordinator, who oversees everything that goes into the YCC, everything that goes on, in and out, goes through the coordinator. Under the coordinator, we have three main operational sectors. That is the middle level. We have policy and research, capacity building, comms, and outreach officer. I'll explain that briefly. So research and policy, we all know. What do? They take on climate policies in Ghana and international, interpret, make the use, review, and make inclusions. And they also participate, help the youth in Ghana participate in the various climate policies that are made for Ghana, especially the NDCs, the water policies, the NAPs, every other policy pertaining to climate change and environmental sustainability. Capacity building and education officer, that is what I do. We basically liaise with NGOs, create the avenue for young people to learn anything climate change. So we build documents which encapsulate climate change, basic model, climate change 101, so that even somebody from the basic level can just, pick that document and learn. We build capacity, we organize capacity building trainings for people to build their capacities. We've had a long list of capacity building trainings organized for Ghanaians to also hoop their interest in climate change. Communications and outreach. This is where the legitimacy of Youth Climate Council in Ghana is sanctioned. So we have the outreach officer putting legitimate information out there, outreach, connecting with other people in the climate space, creating a big database. So as it starts now, the communication officer or the communication and the outreach team and the capacity building team together has built a good membership or database of about 2,600 Ghanaians, which is very amazing. And we are looking forward to seeing Uganda beating this record in the Youth Climate Council. And we have, under the capacity training, capacity building and education, the thematic focal point. So initially we had what we call the thematic, the regional focal point. So just as you have 4 major regions in Uganda, am I right? 4 major. In Ghana, we have 10 administrative regions. Now it's 16. So we had 10 individuals from each administrative region that the YCC liaises with or connects with. So the YCC specifically chose people from the grassroots in these various regions who would be just connecting the various grassroots within the region in climate decision making. So when there's a policy document, we take it to them, they bring their views just as we did here and we are going to do today, so that we hear what everybody would say and what their take are on whatever. And that is also going to help us build our community. So under the thematic, currently we are rolling out a thematic focal point, which is going to deal specifically with the specific thematic areas we deal in climate change in Ghana. So we have energy, biodiversity and nature-based solutions. We have water, sanitation and hygiene and agriculture. These are the main 4 thematic areas that YCC Ghana operate under. Please, next slide. I think I would end here with operations with YCC Uganda. Let's move on to YCC Costa Rica. So the Youth Climate Council in Costa Rica is the next. Now, Costa Rica, we all know, has green lands. They have very green lands, but that is not the case. Just as every country has their own, issue. When I was coming in the flight, I could see a very big, large green belt in Uganda. I said, wow, this is amazing. Do we have environmental issues in Uganda? I came here and I was just listening and I was like, wow. So you have all these lands, these natural resources, and they have issues. And I said, okay, so this is everywhere. It's not just only in Ghana. The same thing is in Costa Rica. They have green lands, but they have issues. They have a lot of issues, conservation issues with regards to their lands. So their objective generally for the setup of the YCC Costa Rica is basically to be a platform led by young individuals or legal representing youth organizations. That's very important, so that it wouldn't just be any youth organizations, the legal ones, the ones that are registered and recognized by the government. So to promote institutionalization of initiative that seeks recognition of this sector of the population as the fundamental actor in the development and execution of climate policy in local. So what they do basically is just like what happens in Ghana. They bring together all the institutions, NGOs that are into climate change, the climate movement, that are legitimately registered to the government and have a say in climate issues. Bring them together to discuss things pertaining to the climate. Please, next slide. Thank you. So this is an organization of the YCC Costa Rica. Now you see, this is not an operational structure. This is how unique YCC operates in every country. You saw in Ghana, we had an operational structure. In in Costa Rica, they do not have a structure, but they have an organization. So the organization is made up of the board of directors, the persecutional body, the legal team, the General Assembly, which is made up of the National Climate Governance, the commissions, communications, local climate governance, and climate legislation. So the issue with climate change and operationalization is very different. It differs from country to country. What happens in Ghana is different from what happens in Uganda. What happens in Uganda is different from what happens in Kenya, and vice versa. So this is just a brief overview of what happens in Costa Rica. I'll move on to Brazil. We don't have that slides. If you do, you can project, but if not, we could still go ahead. So Costa Rica, Brazil is very large. You know, Brazil is a very big landscape. And they also have YCC, but the YCC is operationalized in one state, which is Sao Paulo. We all know how big Sao Paulo is. So currently, YCC Brazil has over 350 membership in Sao Paulo alone, and they have over 125 organizations in Sao Paulo that are on or in the YCC database. Their structure is also, their objective is just like what every other YCC seeks to achieve, right? To build the capacity of the youth, to help the youth come in climate decision making, so that they wouldn't be left out, so that any youth within the hinterlands, within the grassroots, would also come on board in decision making. And their structure is not different from what's happened in Ghana and what happens in Costa Rica. So they also have movements and capacity that basically talks about bringing together the various climate advocates within the offshores of Brazil and all the states of Brazil, for them to also have an input in climate policy reviews, climate decision making, and whatnot, and also help organize climate workshops for people to build their capacity. And they have comms or communications and outreach, just like Ghana, who also are very keen in liaison with the media space, the journalism and whatnot, so that they could also help take informal disseminate information from the media to the grassroots or the general public. You know, climate communication is very important. I hope you know that. It's very important. How many of us have noticed that explaining things pertaining to climate to a layperson is very difficult? Because you would now have to turn to technical terms, right? You would have to be using, you know, sequestration, carbon sinks, and all that. It's very difficult. How do you explain the melting of the polar ice to a layperson? It's very difficult. But when you dawn or you get somebody that's within the media space that are trained for that, they know how to relay information to people very easily, so they could tap into the knowledge of climate education and share that information accordingly to people that you may not be able to do. That's what the comms and outreach does. So we have the comms and outreach officer being a journalist in Brazil. I'm looking forward to seeing journalists in Uganda championing the climate cause, of course, because they are trained and they are good in doing that as well. And they have policy and research. So Brazil, just like Ghana, also have a team that review policies regarding the climate change in Brazil and international policies. And they also tap into what other YCC are doing in other countries. So Brazil will look at the model of Ghana and say, oh, Ghana is doing this, henceforth we are also going to implement. So that's the same thing. We are looking forward to seeing YCC Uganda doing the same, so that each YCC could also tap into the knowledge prowess of YCC Uganda and implement those things that you guys who are doing here. So this is where I end my long chops. So please, thank you for listening to me. I'll hand over to the MC to continue. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Ernest Ofori for that informative discussion from the perspective of Ghana, Costa Rica, and Brazil. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to know that this is such a historical moment in this part of this East African nation, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. We all know that Ghana if I'm not mistaken, was the first country to gain her independence. And from what we are hearing right now, the Youth Climate Council is only in Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. And what is happening right now is an initiation to bring the Youth Climate Council in Uganda. And if I'm not mistaken again, Uganda is going to be the second African country to have this kind of an initiative, the Youth Climate Council. That is the main reason why I think that Uganda is indeed the pearl of Africa. Having a gentleman from Ghana, a country that started this independence venture, explain how it works is such a great privilege. And for that matter, if it's a great privilege, us who are here live looking at this, it is entirely upon this reason that I want to request everyone in this building to come around for a picture. Because I know, please come in front. The main reason is, ladies and gentlemen, let us come in front for this picture. As I'm explaining why, let us come in front, guys. Many years from now, people will but this kind of a picture will be historical in a sense that we are the people who witnessed such a big venture. We are the people who have been in this kind of a venture. Sure. Yes, and for those who are attending virtually can also tune in the camera to have this picture. Yes, some people will go in front, but not all of us, but let us try to be a little bit. Yes, if we can help and take away the projector briefly for now, as we have this historical picture being part of such a historical moment in the awareness and fight and battle against climate change. We are looking at an important venture right now, and we are going to have this kind of a picture. Oh my God, I almost miss putting myself in that picture because I want to be part of history as well. All right. Yeah, we can help bring the pull-ups just for inclusivity and the partnerships present. Again, 1, 2, 3, we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, and just like that, we are part of history. We are the people, and we are going to definitely take this message. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into another important session, the breakout discussions. And for that matter, I'm going to request that we divide ourselves amongst three groups, three particular groups. I think one this side, another one in the middle, and another one on the left side. The main reason why we're going to have these breakout sessions, I would like to request kindly a colleague of mine in the names of Margaret to help us in this coordination process. Margaret, if you may.
Thank you very much. So, because we don't want us to all stand, maybe the 3 tables here can be one breakout, or maybe 5. How many tables do we have? 1, 2. Okay, we want to mix up. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just so you're not comfortable in your seat. Is that okay? Great. So can we start? 1, 2, 3. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's go. Yes. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yes, sir. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Moving here. Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hello, ma'am. 3, 1, 2, 3. Moving here. 1, 2, 3. Please keep your numbers in your head. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, he would come later. So 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, no part. 3, 1, 2. Hello, ma'am. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Great. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hello, sir. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Mr. Kainga, 2, 3. And our last 2 tables, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Good. So all ones, please move to, yes, his left. All ones. All twos, please let's be in the middle. Twos in the middle, 3 right here.
Please, all ones are moving to this left side.
All ones, twos in the middle, and all 3. Twos in the middle, and 3s at the side.
All right, so all moderators for the breakout, Derek, Irene, David. David will be 1. Irene will be 2. Irene will be 2. And
Twos
Derek
in the middle.
will be 3.
Ones on my left, twos in the middle.
In the middle, 3 on the right.
3s on my right. Thank you so much. The activity today for this breakout, very brief. I wouldn't want our leads to reiterate. Can I have our attention for 1 minute? Hello, everybody. For 1 minute, please. Thank you very much. So the purpose of this, as Ernest did his presentation, he talked about how YCC looks like in Ghana, in Costa Rica, in Brazil. How do you think YCC can look like in Uganda? We do things tailor-made, based on the population, based on the needs and everything, even though it's the same purpose. So how do you think it can look like in Uganda, based on Ugandan youth population? So our breakout leads will come with specific questions on these areas and we can discuss. How many minutes do we have? We have 25 minutes for this. At the end of the time, we will need a volunteer to tell us what you discussed on. So please choose your volunteer afterwards. Can we start now? If you can start, let's say yay. If you can start, say yay. If you can't start, say no. Okay, so we are starting. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Okay, so if you want to take reference to the questions, they're displayed on the board as well. But I believe you should access them. You should have accessed them already. Thank you.
Came to time, a little time to think things over. I gotta read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. This mountain I must climb feels like a world upon my shoulder. Through the clouds I see love shine. Keeps me warm as life grows cold.
Opacodes on the beat.
Let's save the world. Simba Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real. Bachacha bafe, bakumanyo utonde bafe, bakansangwao. Kubye kwanga muje okusale miti kusukirite, jifaji kwao. Wali nacho sobola kukola, emiti jinkabya mazika, yamba, yesawa. Wali nacho sobola kukola, emiti jinkabya mazika, yamba. Let's save the world. Simba Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real. Let's save the world. Simba Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real. It's about you and me. Let's come together, Convening. Everybody plant a tree. Simba Muti, our Wally. It's about you and me. Let's come together, Convening. Everybody plant a tree. Simba Muti, our Wally. And Bella Yobote Juse. Chemaine Katonda Nise. Beatonda. Tubionona. Tukolele wa Mose nawe. Tutasebu no butonde. No, let's see our face. Let's save the world. Simba Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real. Let's save the world. Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real.
Opacodes on the beat. Opacodes on the beat.
Let's save the world. Simba Muti, our Wally. Let a tree. Climate change is real. Bachacha bafe, bakumanyo utonde bafe, bakansangwao. Kubye kwanga muje okusale miti kusukirite, jifaji kwao. Wali nacho sobola kukola, emiti amazika, yamba, yesawa. Wali nacho sobola kukola, emiti jinkabya mazika, yamba. World, Simba, Wally. Climate change is real. Simba Muti, our Wally. Climate change is real. It's about you and me. Let's come together, Convening. Debate a tree. Simba Muti, our Wally. It's about you and me. Let's come together, Convening. Everybody plant a tree. Simba muti awawali embela yobutte chuse chemaine katonda nyize beyatonda tubyonona tukolele wamunze nawe tutase buno butonde nono lensi afe. Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali bet a tree climate change is real. Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali bet a tree climate change is real.
Oka codes on the beats.
Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali.
Oka codes on the beats.
Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali bet a tree climate change is real. Bachacha bafe bakumanyo bonde bafe bakansangwao kubye kwanga muche okusala emiti kusukirite kifa kikwao walina kyosobola okukola emiti ginkabya amazika yamba yesawa walina kyosobola okukola emiti ginkabya amazika yamba. Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali. A tree, climate change is real. Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali bet a tree, climate change is real. It's about you and me. Let's come together. Let's save the world. Muje okusala emiti kusukirite gikwao walina kyosobola okukola emiti ginkabya amazika yamba sawa walina kyosobola okukola emiti ginkabya amazika yamba. Let's save the world, simbo muti awawali. a tree. Sibomuti our wali. It's about you and me. Let's come together, Kobani. Everybody bet a tree. Sibomuti our wali. And Bella Yobote. Chemaine Katonda Nise Yatonda. To be onona. To kolele wa monse nawe. To tase uno butonde. No, no, let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real. Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real.
Uppercuts on the beats.
Check this out. Oh, yeah.
Crossfade.
Yeah. Come on.
You can't scratch fresher than this.
Oh, yeah.
Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real. Bachacha bafe bakumanyo utonde wabe bakansangwao. Kubye kwanga muche okusale miti kusukirite jifati kwao. Wali nacho sobola kukola emiti jinka bya mazika yamba yesawa. Wali nacho sobola kukola emiti jinka bya mazika yamba. Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real. Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real. It's about you. Let's come together, Kobani. Everybody bet a tree. Sibomuti, our wali. It's about you and me. Let's go, Kobani. Everybody bet a tree. Sibomuti, our wali. And Bella Yobote Jose. Chemaine Katonda Nise. Beatonda. To be onona. To kolele wa monse nawe. To tase uno butonde. No, no, let's see a let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate is real. Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real.
Uppercuts on the beats.
Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali.
Uppercuts on the beats.
Let's save the world. Sibomuti, our wali. Bet a tree, climate change is real. Bachacha bafe bakumanyo utonde wafe bakansangwao. Kale miti kusukirite Jifajikwao Wali nacho solo kukola Emiti jinkavya mazika Yamba Yesawa Wali nacho solo kukola Emiti a tree Climate change is real
Codes on the beats.
Yes, please. Unfortunately, in the interest of time, would like to invite at least the group leaders. Yes, interest of time. Through. Yeah, from
youth, and then there's benchmarking solutions and scholars. And on question 2, you're going to support in increasing Uganda's youth movement with training, formation and dissemination. Also, a platform for youth voices, training on climate communication, and here we are looking at local communication, and then space for local embracing the local knowledge, space for climate, for example, passing information through power.
Go our solutions for and one of those is expanding structure of what is would resources. Of course, it's just starting. It is already best ways. You see, Uganda can be developed. Has more than 35. Here is what we think should be of, building partnerships with already existing organizations. That is very important because they already know the best solutions or the best practices. We are talking about inclusive local leaders.
Okay, this side, good. As you're having this, I would like to recognize the presence of the Executive Director. Let us delve into Group 3 presentation.
Thank you very much. I'm Kule Kasim from Group 3, Derek as our moderator. The first question went like potential challenges, why is likely to appearance is one of the major challenges which WISE is likely to face in Uganda because of the different political parties that we have in Uganda, as we all know. Then limited knowledge for the basics of climate change information, like there is some basic information which everyone should be knowing. But you find that even like very few people have that basic knowledge. So we need to first create that first awareness so that everyone can attain that particular basic knowledge about climate change. Then we have budget advocacy and the stage of policy formulation. Like we need to know at which stage are we taking this information for the YCC. Like at which stage? Is it adoption stage? Is it like any particular stage that we need to first identify that stage? Then limited funding, as we know that funding is one of the major issues that we need to look at while taking this YCC. Then for the solutions that can tackle some of these challenges, we have serious and self-commitment. Like self-commitment is one of the things that everyone should be having because it's just personal, like it's you within. What you are is what you will do. So self-commitment. Then establish connections with already existing organizations, as this will help to provide support and even support the already YCC that is coming. Then question 2 is how can YCC Uganda support in increasing youth movement, unity in climate action? One of it is sharing opportunities through one platform. We need to have one platform where all members can access themselves, where all members can have, can share the information. Then we have to bridge the gap, bringing the knowledge gap that exists among the youth, then strengthening the YC structures to the grassroots. Like it needs to go until it reaches to the last person in the village. So it does not need only to be here in Kampala or in Wakso, but it needs to go back to the grassroots where everyone can find the information. Then funding and supporting the environmental projects like plant trees, that is tree planting, climate education in schools, in villages, like whatever project is ongoing, support them so that they can feel included. Question 3 was how can YCC be internal operated within the 4 regions of Uganda? One of it is to create a forum and elect the interested members, including both the male and the female. Yeah, so we need to, like that can be one way of how can it be internally operated. Like first create a platform or a forum, then we'll elect the members who are interested. Then from those ones, they should be among the male, the female, like everyone.
All right.
Yeah, I'm finalizing.
Thank you.
I'm finalizing. Just.
Okay, 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Then for question 4 is like systems put in place in YCC Uganda to ensure that there is effective movement building. One of it is to create a database system of keeping everyone known, which will be always updated. Like we need to create that system where everyone should be included and that system should be always updated. Then doing more actions than theory and formal registration of YCC within the formal systems of Uganda. It should be one thing that should also be considered. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Group 3. And I would like to say we need to have a round of applause for everyone who has participated in this kind of discussion, having to know the potential challenges of the Youth Climate Council in Uganda and possible best practices. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I told you we are behind time, but if you may want to know, some of you might have seen some water around and maybe the cups we are missing. Just to let you know that we have some cups there. in case you need to take some water. And we shall be having lunch coming in through. But before we go to the next one, we have a second panel of discussants. But before we delve into that, I would like us to hear a short story from someone who has lived the effects of climate change. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite a young friend of ours at Gayo in the names of Kutosi Dewo, who is a young person that has been affected by climate change and from the district of Bududa. All of us know that particular place. Yes, let us know briefly how this person. Okay, just a minute, guys. Someone just misplaced a phone. In case you have a phone around yourself, please, that is not that you not know about, please present it kindly. Be kind enough to push it in front. If you have a phone around your desk, please, if possible, it's on. It could be ringing. They could ring it in a few minutes. Would appreciate that. Yes, Deo, take it on, brother.
Thank you very much, our dear coordinator of the program. By name, I'm called Kutosideo, a district youth chairperson in Bududa, and also a member of the National Youth Council. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all and thank YCC Uganda for bringing on board this kind of an engagement which is all about capacity building and ensuring that climate change is being taken as a serious matter which needs to be addressed in all on all grounds in whichever information areas that we are meant to be in. It's actually a pleasure to me. One reason that I want to say that this kind of an engagement is very important is because the moment we leave out the issue of climate, then all our destinations are going to lose their natural nature. Why I say so is because of Bududa. There are so many economic activities that have taken place along mountains or slopes of Mount Elgon, and this in particular has always been in form of cutting trees, cultivating without following clear methods of farming that have also led to weakening of the ground and hence leading to serious landslides. As a result of landslides, we happen to have a very great impact to many of our community members. And this is because of all the people who existed before did not follow the proposals of the environment, how we need to protect it. So you realize that when a landslide cuts an area, you find that those people can no longer stay in the same place. They are always brought in the camp. And in the course of staying in that camp, they come different families, and as a result, there are so many things that end up affecting the younger people, most especially the girls and the boys. You realize that there is other pregnancies, there is also a dropout of school, and then, of course, family negligence, because if a parent has lost properties the other side and is being brought in the camp, he or she cannot manage to continue to control his or her family. So we end up being affected greatly and hence creating a very big problem within our communities. So what is most important is we as leaders to wake up and we ensure that information concerning climate and the protection of the environment is taken as serious. That is what I wanted to say. I want to thank you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Deo from Bududa district. We are all facing the effects of climate change, and Bududa has really stood out in that line. It's a privilege to have you around discussing and shedding a light in that perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I would like to take you through another session of the second panel of the discussants. And in this particular aspect, we'd like to discuss climate policies in Uganda, how the Youth Climate Council Uganda can support the meaningful inclusion of youth. In that perspective, ladies and gentlemen, allow me invite Mr. Paul Rukundo, a trade policy analyst that serves as the Chief Executive Officer for Itemba Agrofresh Limited, a representative of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Youth Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Paul Rukundo. The other person that we have, we're very pleased to have Kisa Cherish. Kisa Cherish. Yes, Kisa Cherish could be, who will join us shortly. Then we have another person in the names of Nabasa Innocent, who is the Africa Regional Coordinator for Thrive, while also serving as a host on Pearl of Africa TV, Power TV. Ladies and gentlemen, interest of time, would like to also have another personality, the names of Henry Stanley Mboa, who is a lecturer at the Environment and Climate Studies, Kampala, Uganda University. A round of applause as we have Henry coming. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce again, of course, we have Kisa Cherish, who is the Councillor LOC3 at the Gaba Katogo Trading Center. It's a privilege to have you around, Kisa. And in this perspective, I would like to invite our moderator for this particular session in the names of Joshua Apamaku. Joshua Apamaku Aita, who works with the Youth for Nature, to come and help us in the moderation of this panel. Ladies and gentlemen, it won't take long, and I'm super excited that we are doing this, and we are present in this historical moment as we introduce the first ever Youth Climate Council in Uganda. Thank you, and let's take it on.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start by crossing my legs since everyone is doing the same. Yeah, so we are here to understand a lot more about climate policies, and straight to the point we shall go. We have 4 different dimensions on the panel here. We have the policy perspective, we have the media, we have the local leadership, and we have one from the education perspective. So straight on to Mr. Rukundo. We talk about stakeholders when we talk about stakeholders, especially in policy-related discussions or even on the ground implementation. So who are these stakeholders, and how do young people get into these spaces?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Paul Rukundo. I am the CEO of Itemba Agrofresh, a company that deals into exports of fruits and vegetables. But also I work with Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Youth Affairs, an advocacy platform for members of parliament who are so passionate about the issues of young people. When you look at our legislative agenda for this term, that is the parliamentary perspective, we looked at several thematic areas which we think are very critical for us as young people. And one area we focused on is climate change. Climate change, it is no longer a global issue. It is no longer something that is foreign to us. It's something that we live with. And we can't shy away from having discussions around this particular thematic area. For me, first of all, as young people, we need to first interest ourselves in this area so that we get to understand what is happening. Because I understand there are policies, there are laws in this country, but I am quite sure that some of those policies and laws are so foreign to us. We don't even know the process of formulating those laws, the process of, coming up with those policies. And this is why I think that this YCC is important, because when it is in place, then we now have to find ways of getting to the table so that whatever these policymakers are discussing, we are fully represented. So that our issues, the issues that affect us, are actually represented in this entire process. So I believe that the YCC is very important, as it will also help us to, bring us to the table and have a discussion with policymakers to make sure that our issues are actually represented. I was looking at the National Climate Change Act of 2021. It actually talks of designing a national climate change action plan from at the national level and down at the district level. The district actually should have that action, national climate change action plan at the district level so that they can look at issues that affect the climate change issues that affect the population from grassroots up to the national. And you find that in those committees at the district, we young people, we are not, fully represented. We are not part of those committees. We are not anywhere. We are not active in making sure that we participate in submitting to, contributing our views to how we want our environment to be conserved and all that. So there are gaps which we need to fill in as young people, but also, I believe also government has also tried to open up these spaces. For example, in the budgeting process, there is what we call the certificate of compliance, where all these ministries are supposed to attach budgets to mitigate climate before actually they receive money that is supposed to be appropriated to those ministries. So you find that if we do not have this information, then as young people, we shall be left out. And I believe it is timely that we now have an organization or a coalition that will bring us all the young people together to make sure that we push for these concerns of climate change. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ugnda, for that. So we shall move straight to the next person in the interest of time. So just to make it quick, I would request that the panelists be as quick as possible. But of course, thanks so much, Mr. Ugnda, for the details on that. I feel we didn't know some of that as well. Straight onto the media, climate news does not just come through thin air. And we know that there is a medium or there are media through which you get this information. So straight to Mrs. Innocent, I guess. What's the role of the media in enhancing or promoting information about climate action or even the youth involvement?
Thank you so much, moderator. Nabasa Innocent is my name. I work with Power TV. I've been in media for over 15 years, and I'm also the Africa Regional Coordinator for Thrive Africa. This is an organization that promotes sustainable food systems, and importantly, we look at how animal agriculture is contributing to climate change. So in all ways, I'm into climate change mitigation and adaptation. So as a media, we have a very key role to play, but unfortunately, I think the media is not being fully involved. And when I talk about the media, it's not just TV and and newspapers and everything, but we must look at if we want to involve youth, because youth are the most affected by the effects of climate change. Right now, the floods in Kampala, you look at the borders which are being driven mainly by the youth, the vendors, who are the youths. If you go to rural communities, the people tending to the coffee plantations, the rice plantations, it is the youth. So the youth are being affected. But do they have the information? Very many youths out there probably know that River Nyamwamba will burst its banks. And then the media will say, once again, River Nyamwamba has burst its banks. But then the youth are not understanding why. When probably the political leaders go out there to tell them, you need to do this, you need to plant trees, you need to move out, they would think the probably government wants to grab their land. Why is it so? The topic climate change is quite complex, and I must confess that even media to some extent does not understand it. And unfortunately, our media in Uganda is full of the bad news, which they say bad news is good news. Solution journalism isn't the thing. And if you look at the most celebrated journalists in this country, most of them are not into solution journalism, but politics. So we are lost as the media. But then it is organizations like the Youth Climate Council to involve the media. Like I said, it's a complex topic. And probably during the journalism and mass communication classes at university, this topic is not broken down. So it is the mandate of like YCC to look for media, coordinate media, support media. Media is underfunded. And then when it comes to topics that are this complex and whereby a journalist that reports on climate change would not be a celebrated journalist, then you're not going to have many journalists. So support these journalists. Fund them to cover climate change related topics. Importantly, support the media to localize the climate change message. If you want, right now, for example, if we go downtown Kampala, maybe in parts where it's flooding, or if we go to the local communities in Ugnda and all that, what's the most listened to medium of communication? It's probably radio. So how many radio presenters have knowledge about climate change? How many radio presenters in rural communities, because most of these are community radios, how many of them really understand this message? So as YCC, it is a task, first of all, to look out for the local media, involve the rural youth, the youth that cannot speak English. They are the majority because the youth that are in UPE, USE can hardly speak English. But I don't know if we have them here. Yet they are the majority. Yet there's climate change affecting them. The food we eat comes from the rural communities. So if the farmers do not have knowledge about climate change, then it means we are headed for the worst. Also, to look at what are the, right now we have gone digital, what are the most watched or followed medium of communication by the young people, both learned out of school and in school? TikTok, like for example, TikTok is taking over. How? Because right now if you go on TikTok, you find vendors on TikTok, farmers on TikTok, our house helpers at home are on TikTok, the farmers on TikTok, the houseboys, the shambas. So how do we disseminate this message? Probably through TikTok. Media isn't just the mainstream media, but even social media. Because these community reporters, if right now River Nyamwamba, like I said, busts its banks, or the floods that are happening, it's the people that are there, the borders, the vendors, the farmers that are recording this. If 100 people have drowned because River Katonga has flooded, it is the locals there. By the time someone from Kampala goes there, media person, the locals have already disseminated the information. How about those locals have the information to know why River Katonga has flooded? You know, many will not understand it. Some are thinking it is Mother Nature reacting, it is Jajab Jagal, you know those things. So we need to take the message home. We need to involve the local people. We need to involve the young people, both in and out of school. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow, I'm almost requesting the organizers to add us 2 more hours to discuss this. But of course, we understand that we have understood how diverse these two sections of CNIT through are. And I think the next two panelists will forgive me because the past 2 have given us a lot of explanation and we're kind of being caught up by time. So quickly, from the education perspective, many of us have gone through programs that talk about biodiversity, that talk about climate change. And I want to get to understand the role of research and education institutions in addressing the climate-related disasters and, of course, still cross-cutting to youth involvement, keeping it as quick and snappy as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. My name is Henry Mbowa Stanley. I teach at Kampala University, and on the other hand, I work as climate finance expert at AD Environment, a Netherlands-based organization, but we have our East African office in Kampala, Bogorobi. As per the statement, we have seen that climate change is a phenomenon to so many people. And we find that it is because of anthropocentrism that this phenomenon has happened. And when it happens, so many people are affected. How does it happen, or how do we see? You will see floods almost everywhere. And all of these ones come because of our poor practices as a man, because we use anthropocentrism perspective that we are more than every resource or creature on the universe. So we end up degrading. Check out our practices we do. So that calls for academic institutions, researchers to come up with the ideas and the knowledge plus skills to see how we can come up with the key elements to draft, come up with the policy and provide the solutions. And the number one is that as researchers or scholars, we need to go on call out to research, provide the solutions, and these researches we take on should be based on what trade goes around and the best the studies are being done, and you find that media person has said that we don't focus on what changes and how it happens. So we should do focus on carrying out studies, researches, and based on the researches who have done or who have carried out, the recommendations, the strategies should be provided to the other stakeholders, such as the government, such as the community, as well as any other stakeholder. And the other thing as academic institutions, all scholars, is undertaking a policy review, because these policies should come from the ground. But how do we do it? We need to first review the existing policies in cooperation with the previous studies undertaken. Then we can be able to come up with the appropriate policies. And these policies should be informed to the ground or to the people, because we have found that the policies are there, they are being done, but some don't touch to the solutions which need to be put into place. Do the people, our community, know these policies? So the role of academic institutions is to localize these policies. We go to the ground, because the role of an academic institution is to call out research, to teach, but also to communities. So these policies should be localized to the local man to understand them, because we are understanding them is so hard. But also, as an academic institution, we need to collaborate with the different stakeholders. According to UN, CCC Policy 41, Article 41, 46, encourages stakeholder involvement. So the collaboration brings on different stakeholders to work with them, doing these policies to be put forward to help in the providing solutions to the emerging issues in terms of climate change. But also, when you go through the Constitution of Uganda, Article 6, it emphasizes stakeholder involvement or engagement, because without having stakeholder, these policies may not work, because that we have the policies, but they are not being implemented and enforced. So we need to have that stakeholder engagement, bring everybody on board, such that we know these policies, and in doing so, people, all different stakeholders will own the policies. And finally, as academic institutions, they have to help in forward-seeing, all of monitoring and evaluation of these policies. Yes, the policies have been drafted. They have gone through policy review, they have been reviewed. They have gone into parliament. They have been passed, and the president has signed it, but have they been enforced? There is that hand which is missing out, foreseeing their implementation and enforcement to do their intended role. We should be able to copy from other countries, whereby these policies are not even being enforced. Like now, for example, when you go to Rwanda, you'll find that there is no need of using force. There's no need of doing anything, but everybody knows what to be done, and the policies are going on well than the way we have here. And you find that these policies we are got from here, taken to the other countries, but they are doing well. So as academic institutions, that's where we have to go. And when I say stakeholder engagement, we don't leave youth behind, because actually in this, we recommend that the youth should have a vote in any of these policies in line with climate change mitigation, in climate change adaptation. As the Youth Climate Council, having got it in Uganda, there should be a role where they are interlinked with the parliament, with the government, and they share a vote in passing on this legislation to have a sustainable future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So much knowledge being spilled here, and the stage is almost melting. So next we need to hear from the committee perspective, from the from the community leadership perspective. Many of us have been leaders, maybe leave alone now university politics, and the leadership is cross-cutting, but here we have it from someone who engages with people each and every day at the community level, what we call Omuntu Awansi level. And interestingly, I would like to understand and know how much engaging community members in climate conscious activities looks like. And we understand that there are so many youth in these areas, especially the one of your jurisdiction. Yes, we are already over time, so I'll give you maybe about 2 minutes to run over this, if you can, but please spill as much information as you can within these 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. For purposes of clarity, I'm Sechanzi Stephen Irish, as called here as Kerish Kisache. No, I'm Sechanzi Stephen Irish, Councillor LC3, representing my Gaba, and again I'm doubling as, thank you. Again, I'm doubling as a chairperson of Public Health and Environment in Makindye under KCCA. I happen to be voted out of many to be the LC3 Councillor of Gaba. Most of you know Gaba. Gaba has a landing site. It is one of the places in Kampala that borders the lake. It has a landing site. It has a market. It has residential areas. It has a wetland. And it has a trading center. Now, being it a landing site, expect fish. And a lot of different people involved in that area. Now, we as leaders, just as the moderator said that asokerwako wansi komuntu asokerwako, I would really pray so hard that if Gayo has come up to fight and see that the youth are involved in seeing the ecosystem back, it should really go to the first youth down. When I talk of the first youth, you know, we have 3 categories of youth now. We have the educated one, we have the middle ones, and those who never had any chance of going to class. And those ones who never went to class are the people who are most willing to give in their energy and time towards the cause. I want you to take this so serious that as the policies are being made, one, the policies are being made by the land. And they are the very people that do not follow them. In Uganda today we have a problem. That problem is Gambanogu. I think you know it. Those are the people who have cleared wetlands. Right or wrong? You know. These things, you know them. When you look at the wetlands, petrol stations have been built in there. Who are the owners of them? Those Gambanogu. This is true. And when it comes to leadership, I really pray that leadership down there should be involved. These people need to be taught and sensitized, educated on what climate change is. And the youth down there, we have leadership straight from zonal areas. And those youths, they have representatives straight from the zonal level. So those people should be, I think, educated on climate change. They should get involved, and as well leaders. So many leaders at local council 1, they never went to school. But I'm of the view that even the language should be translated to their local language so that they can understand this better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Super interesting insights. And at this point, I know that at this point, I know we all appreciate the diversity of perspectives from the 4 different angles on this panel. And due to time factor, we shall now have our panelists telling us just one word that describes climate action for them. Just one word, each of you. Just one word.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know how to say one word, but
basically, you have said more than one. It's just one word. So
okay,
when you get the mic, you just mention one word.
Mine will be calling upon the young people. In the area of policy formulation, we have several youth, forums at Parliament where we can use to advocate for some of the things that we think policymakers can, work on, so that we don't always have to come here and complain of ABCD. Let's get on board. Let's work with these policymakers so that we have our issues, worked upon, and we see how to move this country forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, though you violated the rules. Okay, yes, please, quickly.
Thank you, moderator. I think the take-home is, let us go, review the policies as the youth council, as the youth. Let us implement the policies. Let us enforce the policies. And in that line, we adapt, we mitigate, and move to stay in a sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me I would say it's what you inspect that gets done, not what you expect.
Thank you. What I would say is to call upon GAYO and YCC to work with government to localize as much as possible the climate change message. It's very, very complex. And for as long as it stays complex, it will stay on the paper. My colleague talked about UNCCC. I don't know how many people can say that in full. The UNCCC, So we need to localize it as much as possible to target the real people that we want to target, that are most affected. Let's climate change policies and guidelines get off paper and go down to the people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause, otherwise our panelists won't be leaving this stage. Okay, thank you so much. It was great hearing and learning from each and everyone. But as I said, the next time we'll have 6 hours to discuss this. Thank you.
A lot of matter has been going around. When you think that you have actually gotten enough of it, the next discussant gives it to you in another direction, and it is powerful, it is engaging, and it is informative. Well, ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the panelists that we had right now. Very engaging and informative. In the interest of time, right about now, let us just delve into the next steps for the YCC Uganda. And to take us through this, allow me invite a great personality in the names of Margaret Imprime, if I'm mentioning that right. Margaret, kindly take us through this.
Hi, everyone, again. Thank you so much. My name is Margaret Imprim, and I work with Green Africa Youth Organization. I am the Assistant Global Coordinator for the Youth Climate Council's Global Alliance. So I am here on behalf of myself and all the staff of GAYO Uganda, as well as the country manager who is not here in person, but you heard her, Betty Osei-Bonsu. And just to let us know what the next steps. So after all what we have done, the virtual consultation today, the stakeholder consultation, what I'm going to do is just let us know what we are expecting from us as our next steps. So then we look at our next steps or activities, and then our potential partners and collaborators. We mentioned a lot of collaboration. That is one thing the YCC believes in, collaboration. Because if you work solo, you're going too slow. So you have to make sure you do something with somebody. All right. So our next steps, I'm hoping that someone is helping me present. If not, I'll just go through. It's fine. So what we're going to do from now is engage with partners for further collaborations, because we cannot do this alone. We are looking forward to having a number of stakeholder surveys to gather more information about the dynamics of youth participation in Uganda, and also understand the know-how of youth in policy, so we know the extent of gap in terms of knowledge and how to bridge those gaps. As well, we would launch a YCC policy report that is going to speak about what is going on with regards to policy input and participation here in Uganda. So we are all informed and we are all expectant, because I think the last person, what he said is, what you inspect is what is actually going to come, not what you expect. So this is so that you help inspect whatever we are doing. We want to make sure that we are on the same path with you. As well, creating our governing document, because it's a movement. We need a charter, we need a code of conduct, so no one flouts any rules. As well, we are building our membership. There has been a Google group, which I'm not sure everyone is part of. So then we would have a sign-up link for everyone within the youth bracket, and as well as a youth organization, to join this whole thing for us to become members. And this will become the platform for sharing opportunities and so on and so forth. During the internal operations, there will be a call for coordinating bodies. Whether these bodies are organizations, individuals, there will be a call. This is so that it would help everyone have the right to apply. So there will be a call. So just look out for that. In the process, there will be a call for coordinating bodies. And then we can start with our trainings, capacity building trainings, policy engagement, everything that you would need as a youth to be able to be an expert in the area of climate action and policy input. We would gather all through the surveys, everything. We would make sure we note all the gaps down. We would make sure we identify stakeholders that can support us in having these trainings done. And we would make sure that we have everyone together. As much as possible, we will try to not let it be centralized in one location, so that everyone can have access to these trainings. So that is all from my side. The potential partners includes but not limited to UNICEF and UNDP, Uganda, National Environmental Management Authority, basically all national authorities, our ministry, and our universities in Uganda, private youth groups, the coalition of NGOs, Uganda Youth Secretariat, and every other partner who is having the capacity of supporting us realizing this dream. So this is just a call for everybody. We are all welcome to come on board, whether in the form of a training, whether in the form of bringing in membership. We are all welcome to come on board. And on that note, we are going to have a public declaration saying that, yes, we have spoken about the possibilities of having YCC Uganda. What is the evidence? We have this lovely, I think this should come in the middle, if you don't mind. We will have the signage where every stakeholder present here would sign. This is going to be an evidence saying that we are together in this. Can I have Isaac and any other Gaia Uganda person supporting NS, please? Just to help make sure this is stable. So we'll just hold it. So then we'll have our stakeholders coming in to sign, and I'm sure there's space for everyone. And just for the whole consciousness of time, just very few stakeholders will sign. But then afterwards, please feel free to come and sign. Put something down. Put your signature. Put down your pledge. Say that you're part of this, and let's do this together. Thank you so much. So on that note, we'll start by calling the National Youth Council.
All right. Yes. That is the National Youth Council chairperson making that declaration as of now. Mr. Jacob Eyeru, thank you so much. Yes, of course, all the partners should come in now. We shall have the Friday for Future Uganda representatives, and definitely we shall also see, let us be a little bit snappy on this. We shall have the association, the Action Coalition on Climate Change. We shall also have the Uganda Water and Sanitation Network coming in. We shall have a representative from Power TV coming in. We shall have Yaren Organization, Vision for Children and Youth Forum, Youth Go Green will also come in to make that declaration. Youth for Green Communities will also come and make that sign against this declaration. We shall have Community Transformation Foundation. Then we shall be followed by Pedon Uganda Limited. We shall also have Listen and Evolve. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall also have a representative from Africa Tourism and Environment Initiatives, the Peter Tree, coming in to sign. Yes, Isaac and Bako. And as that is ongoing, definitely some people, I would like to also recognize the presence of some few key partners. As we are taking on this, a representative from Power TV can come and sign. Yes, Wilson. We are signing this declaration, and I would like to invite anyone that I may not have mentioned, please feel free to come and sign against this declaration. Okay, well, as this is ongoing, I would like to let us have some remarks, but also before that particular one, I would like to recognize the Executive Director of the Uganda Cashewnut Value Chain, Mr. Tukamsima Dixon Chabaseta. Yes, Dixon over there is the Executive Director of the Uganda Cashewnut Value Chain, a government private sector-led entity charged with implementing the Presidential Directive on Cashewnut Value Chain in Uganda in partnership with Peter Tree and Africa Tourism and Environment Initiatives. As this is ongoing, please, whoever I've not mentioned, it is not out of segregation. Let us have remarks ongoing with Margaret.
So I'm inviting Mr. Jacob to give the closing remarks. Let's give it up, please. As this is going on, we are putting this to an end.
Program directors here, the leadership of different organizations, in a very special way, my brother Edwin of Youth Go Green. I've seen Derek somewhere. I've seen Fridays for Future. Very many young people that have done a very great job in the climate movement in Uganda. I greet you all. I have very few words. Today, we are gathered in the intention of launching YCC in Uganda in full. But I want us to understand two things. Number one, YCC is a responsibility to the people that are becoming a part of it. Those of you that have seen the organizations that are being called partners, you're seeing people who are saying they are committing their time to continuing climate advocacy and work under a new umbrella that is an opportunity for them to continue that work, and that's YCC. And so I believe that for all of us in this room, our presence, our time here today is a show of commitment to that journey. And I hope that the signatures are also a show of commitment to that journey. I am not going to take a lot of your time. I just want to say one thing. Our country has some of the most celebrated climate activists in the world. But that does not necessarily translate into a lot of climate financing for Uganda. That needs to be understood. When our best activists go global at COP28, I think, we had some of the most visible climate protests at COP led by Ugandan young people. However, the deals that Uganda got, or Uganda's youth got, because of participating at COP28, were much less compared to countries like Kenya and many other countries that were organized not just for protest, but also for negotiation. Why the National Youth Council is interested in YCC, and why we will always be interested in every initiative that organizes young people around any matter, is because as a young person in a space that is global, you need to be involved in what is long-lasting, even as you are involved in what is short-lasting. The protests that we do are very good. They inform the world of the positions and the views that young people hold in our different organizations. But the big money that will change the course of climate action in our country is in the negotiation room. So unless we organize young people in our country to be strong voices in the negotiation room, the protest would not matter so much. That is why we are getting involved as a National Youth Council. I'm very sure you have not seen us a lot in climate rooms, but you're now going to see us until you are tired. Because we must ensure that the young people who are the majority of this country are getting a fair say in the future of the climate organization of Uganda. Finally, it is unfortunate that the ministry could not be here or could not even host. It's unfortunate because I think the ministry, when we tried to intervene, the ministry was approached a bit late and they could not organize in time to participate. But in the future, we will ensure, and I'm saying we will ensure because I can see so many people here who've worked closely with the ministry. For us, we have a legal mandate, and so they'll work with us easily. We will ensure that such engagements involve the ministry because they are the guarantors of the frameworks that we come up with. They are the guarantors of the sustainability of the initiatives that we try to build along the climate path, such that the country moves with one front. If you need an example, the Republic of Kenya will be hosting from the 4th to 6th of September the Africa Climate Week and the Africa Climate Conference. If Uganda were to host such a conference, the amount of financing we will attract simply because we have hosted such a conference, not just for the ministry, but for every youth organization in the climate space, for the work of young people who wake up every day to think about how to deal with the climate challenge, would be enormous for everyone to benefit. So it's important that those stakeholders begin to see that the vision of the young people and policymakers are aligned as we go ahead. This is not a day for so much technical talk. It's not a day for work. It is a day to launch. And I want to thank you for coming in your number to be able to participate in the launch. And I want to warn you that as you go forward with YCC, as we all join hands and voices, let's avoid the politics of leadership of such organizations and maintain the interest of work as the leading factor. I thank you, and may God bless Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And importantly, thank you, Mr. Jacob Eyeru, the chairperson of the National Youth Council, with the closing remarks. I would like, we are coming actually to the end of this session, but before we do that, I would like to request you, first of all, I hope everyone has a meal card, a coupon. You have a meal card, guys? If you don't have a meal card, I'll give you a coupon. Well, I would like to request everyone to come in front and we take a picture with this declaration form that we have all signed on. as we close this session going for lunch. But importantly, I would like to also introduce myself again. I am called Amumpele Bismarck Moses, a nature and travel journalist, freelance, but with Power TV. Importantly to note, as I'm talking this because I'm trying to buy some time as you come in front. Yes, I'm trying to say this because I would like you to come in front. Otherwise, I do not have anything to say. Yes, but in fact, I'm motivated by the fact that we're about to have some meal. Yes, you know you're tall. Please. Yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Everyone, kindly, let's join this historical photo moment. Yes. All right, members, this is the moment. Not yet, guys. We are still setting up. Yeah. One more. One more. Action picture. Action picture. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for making this happen. Yes, and I would like to say that it's a time to have our meal, and without a doubt, yes, as we are preparing for our lunch, the panelists, please, if you can come in front, we have a picture with yes, the partners of this initiative. If you may wish, I'll call out your name, please. Youth Go Green, Power TV, the partners, please come for a photo. National Youth Council, Fridays for Future Uganda, Action Coalition on Climate Change, Uganda Water and Sanitation Network, Yalin Organization, Vision for Children and Youth Forum, Youth Go Green, Youth Plus Policy Network, Uganda, Youth for Green Communities, COTFON, Community Transformation Foundation Network, on Uganda, Listen and Evolve, and TV. The partners, please, and we are good to network to have our lunch at this juncture. Thank you, everyone, and we can have a smooth kind of a music. DJ.